I chose that selection as an audiobook to advertise in this podcast because it's all about starting new projects. That was one of my projects last year or the year before. Something that I wanted to work, and I got an audiobook out of it. But it was started around the time of September. It was a new project. And you know, sometimes you do things with new projects and you try to have it work that way. I mean, I was so excited and happy about coming up with new books and everything else. And I plan on writing again, but at this time, I don't plan on writing another book soon. I'm planning on writing, but let's just see how the deck goes. I'm gonna do blog writing. I'm gonna do a project that I'm working on. Maybe around sometime next year, I'll work on a Soul Warrior's Mission, which is the sequel to A Soul Warrior's Journey, or part 2 to the trilogy. So there are many things that I'm going to be planning on doing. And there's many things that I'd like to do. And the thing is, when this time around comes, is special. Because we gather what we worked in summer, the months previous, after we completed whatever we needed to complete, and then we start to begin those new projects that we had mapped out in our heads and everything else. And let's just get on that real quick. Mapping out new projects are fun. Rather it's a masterpiece of painting you're working on, rather it's a group you're trying to organize, rather it's coming up with a book. Anything and anything could be the case. Excuse me. When coming up with new projects and coming up with the projects that you need to come up with, these are things to take into account. And a lot may be funding, but you know what? Funding will come. Funding will work its way out. If you protect your dream and you work on it, you'll get there. And I remember previously I've talked a lot about dreams and passion and everything else. That was the majority of whatever I talked about last year. And all of that is true. You need to have a degree of passion to guide you to where you need to go. You need to have your mind on your dreams. Fact is, when you are dictated by everything else, whether it be a woman you're trying to focus on, or if you're a woman, a guy, or if you cater to your children all the time, which that is good, you need to cater to them. you need to help them. You need to teach them. But wouldn't you want to be someone that they could look up to? Someone that they admire? Someone that they respect? Now, I look at wrestling right now, and this is just a storyline. This is how handling defeat. Sometimes people don't handle defeat very well. Let's just say the storyline with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has been champion mostly throughout his career. Universal champion, United States champion, Intercontinental champion. He handled, or even United States champion, I should say. He handled himself with a degree of championship. He knew how to hold the belt. But you look at it now. He has a meltdown. Because the idea is in his head. He's not champion. That gets to him. That he's blocked. That he could spiral downhill because of it. He could not be happy about his direction. Things could happen. Now, it happens. When you're off the pedestal, something happens. You get knocked off of it. And where do you pick up the pieces and start over again? Now, I started over with just working on my dream. With doing the things that I needed to do, make payments. I had a friend help me out with an editing project just to get me geared up and focused again. Because I was not focused. It's like when life deals you a blow, it deals you a blow. So, you get geared up. And you get focused again. That is what I did. More after the break.
The fans look forward to wrestling, and they are part of the show. It was just yesterday on WWE Raw that the wave broke out on TV, and they stopped wrestling. The fans are as much of the production as the wrestlers. It is us who influence the direction of wrestling, and they say what they wanted. I remember when I was at a WCW event, and I started a Sid chant to beat up an opponent. He was a heel at the time, but my chant made him a face, and it was heard on cable TV. I guess then I influenced the crowd at that time, and the crowd reacted. Crowds have been known to influence the direction of where the storylines go. At times, the wrestling promotion likes to swerve the crowd, an unanticipated twist in the storyline. Crowds are a part of the show. However, the production makes the show. It's the people at the concession stands. It's the people who control the lighting and the camera work. Through the course of this audiobook, you will see the change in wrestling, of how it is operated and how it is produced, and how it influenced society as a whole. Now, as Vince put it, they compete with all forms of entertainment as society changes and try to stay relevant. You have the traditional fans, but if you're my age, of 36, the last wrestlers still wrestling on a main stage from the 1980s era are Sting and The Undertaker. This is a statement of the times, and like every era, it changes.
That was Evolution of the Square Circle, the production of professional wrestling. That was written by Joseph Vivaldi. That can be found on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon. And also, it is available on the Amazon Kindle. Back to the podcast. I'm back, and I chose that clip because that was a book that I actually started in the summer, but it was also a new project. However, last year, around December, I had the idea that I wanted to turn it into an audiobook. And a road to get myself back into gear and focusing on projects again and everything else. This was my very first audiobook project doing that. The other was the other book. And I will say, I picked this advertisement clip right now because if I look at projects and everything else with the production, the WWE or wrestling have come up with storyline after storyline. They just know when storyline begins, storyline ends. Sometimes they're a long-going storyline, sometimes they're a short storyline. But they know where it all ends and when it begins. See, WrestleMania is the culmination. Basically ends the feuds that were started the year before. And basically there's an arc. In that arc, let's just say it's kind of like the hero's journey and what Joseph Campbell is trying to write about. There's a beginning, a middle, and the end. The hero goes through a journey. Rather, he's gonna be someone who is liked or not liked. It is all about that journey. See, I'm going to use this as an example. I am going to use the storyline from John Cena and Roman Reigns yesterday. Both polarizing characters, and that is the start of a new program or something. Both characters polarizing. The character of Roman Reigns. He's someone who is not where he's supposed to be